I've never done an unboxing before, but this one really deserves it. I was just so excited to get this in the post this morning that I have to confess I ripped the cellophane right off and then thought, hey, actually, I'd better hold off on this and do a proper unboxing for it, because it's awesome. I saw some preview images and a little bit of chat on YouTube about it pre-release, but this is the beast itself, Dungeons & Dragons Art and Arcana, A Visual History. It's really heavy, by Michael Whitwer, Carl Newman, John Peterson and Sam Whitwer, and let's see how awesome a job they've done of this. This is the deluxe version, clamshell box. Really heavy, beautifully presented. Really like the way this is done. It seems really high quality. Opens very easily, and you got the special little pack of extras in here, neatly held in. Just remove those. This is one of the special features of the deluxe version of the book that I'm really looking forward to seeing, and I can see already there's the original 1975 tournament module of Tomb of Horrors under here, which I can just see through the clear material of the pack. I remember playing Tomb of Horrors, the original release of the official module, so well. Just an awesome adventure. So I'll just keep that down there for now, and I'll have a look at that in a minute. And let's have a look at the book. So again, you've got the dragon on the front of this, and Arcana on the side. Oh, and a brilliant little mimic on the back. It's all nicely done in this gold on the black design. I really like it. You've got a little map of the village of Homlet inside. It's another one I can remember playing when it came out. Gosh, this is going to be a real nostalgia trip for me. I'd better explain, and I've been playing D&D since the first edition of Advanced Dungeons & Dragons came out, back in 1977, I think it was. I remember this guy very fondly. I think that was actually my favourite illustration from the first edition books. Just absolutely magical. And you got this guy. So they've headed the chapters very imaginatively, looking through from the original edition, and then when I came in on the first edition, and the original edition, so far as I'm aware, was just in the USA, and being English, it was a little bit out of my grasp. First edition I came in on because my cousin showed me a copy of the Monster Manual, which he'd just got in the States, and it was coming out over to the UK literally a few months later, and I was so entranced with it. I just loved all the pictures of the monsters. I didn't understand at that stage that it was a game. I was only, 11 years old at the time, or thereabouts, and I just loved the monsters. I thought, this is really, really cool. Oh no, this is brilliant. These are the sorts of things that I won't have got to have seen. Very American advertising. We got some similar sorts of things coming over in the UK, mostly in White Dwarf magazine, but it really, I think, must have got a bit more of an advertising push in the States. This is just going to be absolutely awesome, and I like the way they're kind of obviously charting it where it is now in popular culture as well. Player's Handbook. I'm not going to look literally page by page here because there's just so much of this, but now these were the books I didn't get, the early Dungeons and Dragons. I did actually get some of the later ones like Eldritch Wizardry and Gods, Demigods and Heroes. and then tried to work out how on earth you fitted them into first edition, and the answer was you didn't really. But then back with first edition, it was all very much you made it up as you went along, and you tried to work it out as you went along. Obviously sort of looking at cultural influences and things like that as well, which is great. The evolution of the purple worm. The very first time I actually played Dungeons and Dragons, we got the blue box set, the basic starter as well at the same time from my cousin. We got the Monster Manual, the Player's Handbook, and the box set. The DM's Guide wasn't out at that stage. We had to wait a year or two for that, which was really difficult for a lot of us because we had no idea how powerful any of the monsters were until the DM's Guide came out. And there was a purple worm in the very first adventure that we played at first level, and we couldn't work out why we couldn't beat it. It was that basic at that time. And the other really weird thing about that very first game we played was that my mum and my gran played as well. Only the one game, and then they worked out it wasn't quite for them, but oh gosh. And that's how we used to do all the dungeons. Brilliant. Tomb of Horrors again. Very intrigued to see the Devil's Head with the Sphere of Annihilation from Tomb of Horrors on the back of the bus in Ready Player One. Nice little reference there. Great book. Evolution of the Beholder. I can see I'm going to have a lot of really good time reading this. I wasn't expecting quite as much text. Gods, Demigods and Heroes mentioned, and Eldritch Wizardry, got that as well. Some of these books I still have. My brother actually has the other ones. Dragon Magazine. Never got to read Dragon Magazine so much. Again, it was a little bit harder to get in the UK. Mostly read White Dwarf until it became the Warhammer magazine. And very fond memories of trying to work out the Monster Mark system. Anybody who's in the UK or is familiar with early White Dwarf will know that one. Complicated way of trying to work out how tough the monsters were. And this of course was the stunning bit of early first edition art that I think everybody remembers. And adventures. I have done every single one of these, either as a player or more often as a referee. So, very enjoyable. Tomb of Horrors I think is the one we did the most, to be honest. Very good. White Plume Mountain actually as well. The others, I think, required a little bit more of an investment of time, so I only played them through once, but brilliant. This is just so nicely produced. DM's Guide image. How do I remember this guy? I can't even pronounce his name. Emiricol the Chaotic. This guy's in there, he's named, and have absolutely no idea who he is. It's interesting. Still to this day, no idea. If anybody knows who he was, if he was somebody's character or something, I would be fascinated to find out. I loved that piece of artwork. And the cartoons, these were so good. You don't see so much of that these days. People tend to be a bit more serious with how they do things. Oh, and the whole satanic Dungeons and Dragons debacle. I remember having to explain to people that no, it wasn't, and why it wasn't. Now this, we didn't have so much officially, this whole idea of bringing D&D to your classroom, though, funnily enough, in my history class, we finished a year early. We had a brilliant teacher who took us through the entire syllabus in a year rather than two. We all graduated on it, and then had a year spare, and he actually let us play Dungeons and Dragons in the classroom in lessons. because we'd persuaded him that it had historical content in it. Which is brilliant. We got a lot of playing time in. Now I think I've played all of these. Ravenloft, absolutely classic Revelation adventure. Though I love this one, Castle Amber. That was always such a big thing, getting the next module when it came out and playing it through. This is just awesome. And Fiend Folio. Some of the monsters in there were really interesting. I love the way they've got all these old ads and things in here as well. I really do, that's fantastic. Lead figures I never really did. I bought a few to begin with, and then just found it too expensive and realised you didn't really need them to play. Video games. I did play some D&D computer games as well, but later ones than those. This is just so fantastic. Oh, that's so cool. And a lot of this stuff I've never seen before. It makes me curious how different an experience it must have been playing Dungeons and Dragons in the States as opposed to the UK. Because here you're getting into all the stuff that's more campaign focused. When we first started playing, the idea of playing a campaign, I mean it was out there with the early Greyhawk supplements, but most of us just played individual adventures, and whatever the experience level of the adventure was, you just created a character for it. So had all these weird characters completely disconnected with nothing joining the adventures together. Oh, a very early map of the Forgotten Realms. I actually came to the Forgotten Realms quite late. A friend of mine had a lot of the box sets, and we'd mostly actually been playing Call of Cthulhu for a while, and then got back into D&D, playing through all of these things. I love the Forgotten Realms, that's a brilliant, brilliant setting. I think the most successful one for us. I think you can kind of see where it's going from here. It's going to go through the various editions and different settings, some really nice sort of maps and illustrations and the evolution of how things work. Oh, I love this guy's artwork. Really, the whole thing just speaks for itself. I mean, I could just sit here showing you pages and it's just awesomeness on a stick, or in a book. Loving this. I like the comparison of the old and the new that they do sometimes here as well. That's really cool. Now 3.5 we kind of came back in. I mean, second edition I didn't play as much. 3.5 we really played big time, and some of the largest groups as well. So, and of course 4th edition I must confess I haven't played at all. I don't think I'm the only one. I've only just recently got back into playing with 5th edition, literally just a few weeks back. And here you got the 5th edition material. But this is absolutely stunning. So let's just set that aside because I have been itching to see this. And it's sealed up, so let's see how easy it is. Ah, nice and easy to open that, that's good. We've got a fed set of bits and pieces in here. Just seal that down again so it doesn't stick on anything. So what's this? Poster. Quite nice edition. I think we've got a few of these. Actually, we've got more than a few of these. We've got quite a lot of them. Oh, they're theme folio art. With Yankee. Some nice little pieces of art here. Oh, I'm glad they've got that one in there as well. That's super. Dragon lance art by the looks of it. I like that piece of art. It's a nice little range of artwork. And then we have this beauty. Tomb of Horrors original 1975 tournament module. Illustrated by Tracy Lesh. A skull on the back. Okay, let's have a look. Oh my, typewriter. This actually kind of makes me think as well of Judge's Guild material, which was always typed out and really badly copied and pasted together. This is going to be really fascinating to read through. The annotations as well. And early artwork. I think that was one of the things that was so cool about the Tomb of Horrors, that you had the artwork with it as well. I might try and dig out some of my copies of things. I think I'm pretty sure I've got a very tatty copy, much used, of the Tomb of Horrors sitting around somewhere with my D&D stuff. This is so cool. A little appendix, that's interesting. Well, I can see I have a lot of reading ahead of me. I hope you found this productive and interesting, and maybe a bit of a walk down memory lane for older players and a bit of a discovery for newer. There is a non-deluxe version available, which is also really nice, that it doesn't have these in it and it's not in the clamshell, it's just a regular book. But I, for one, think this is a fantastic investment, and I can see I'm going to have many hours of enjoyment from it. Well, that's Art and Arcana. Let's set this aside for a moment. Dungeons and Dragons, a visual history. Fantastic. I'm really, really pleased with this.